So today's video is going to be more of a channel housekeeping kind of video where I'm going to answer some questions I've been getting on the channel recently, as well as addressing a few changes on the channel. So one of the questions that's been coming up a lot in the last couple of months especially is about my job situation. So a lot of you guys know that my main profession since starting this channel has been that I work in retail. I am a supervisor at a large retailer. Probably one of the most common questions I get actually is, why do you work in retail? Why aren't you working in a computer related field? I just got into retail many years ago. I'm good at it. I'm good at managing people, teaching people, and I'm good at dealing with problematic people, which is often the case in the customer service industry. But in many ways, I do have a second job that is computer related. I mean, I do have this YouTube channel, and in a lot of ways, it's kind of a computer related job, right? I am out there spreading the word about free and open source software and about GNU/Linux, and I think do a pretty good job at least teaching some basics as far as free and open source software and Linux. Now, some of you guys have noticed that I have really put out a lot more videos in the last 3 or 4 months than what I was doing previously. Typically, I was averaging, 4 videos a week, sometimes 5 videos a week. And really, since the start of December, I have tried to put out a video every single day. I've missed a few days, but for the most part, I am averaging about a video a day. So why the sudden increase starting in December? Well, the large retailer that I work at, they are one of the major retailers that is struggling right now. The retail industry as a whole is struggling. And when we had our Black Friday, so the Black Friday here in the US, the Friday right after Thanksgiving, the biggest shopping event of the year, it was not a great Black Friday. And I already knew our company was struggling in a big way. And after that, I knew they're not going to make it. They're going to be out of business soon. So already I was planning for the future. So I really ramped things up on the YouTube channel starting in December. You guys probably noticed, especially some of the videos I put out in December, I looked a bit tired because that was still the busiest part of the season as far as working in retail. Very long hours, it was still the Christmas season. And then I'm putting out a video every single day on YouTube during the month of December. It was I was a bit overworked, but I enjoyed it. Of course, once we got past the Christmas holiday, then things really slacked off at work because, then the busy shopping season is over. It's very slow after the new year. Other than returns, of course, people bring back a lot of the merchandise that they received as gifts after Christmas. But other than that, you really don't do anything for the first couple of months of the year. And once we got to the end of the year, the end of the fiscal year, and started reviewing the numbers, this department store that I work at, which used to do $30 million a year at the location that I'm at, had trouble making it to $8 million in sales for the year. It was just a horrible, horrible year, not just for the store I was working at. It's just company-wide. This particular company is not doing very good. I won't mention the large retailer I work at, of course, but there's several out there, that are struggling, and many of them are on the verge of bankruptcy. And then, of course, the virus hits. But I should back up a little bit. A couple of weeks before the virus hits, the company that I was working at started cutting positions. They started laying people off. And my position wasn't one of them, but I knew it was a matter of time, so I already started planning my exit. Corona hits. Now they have been closed for several weeks now. It's going to be at least a couple of more weeks here in my state before they're able to go back to work. And unless you're filing for unemployment, you're not getting paid. I actually left them right before all of that. I timed it almost perfectly because had I still been with the company, then unless I had a bunch of vacation time saved up and could use that vacation time, I wouldn't be getting paid right now anyway. And from what was going on for the previous year, I don't think, even if the store opens back up in a couple of weeks, it's probably going to be one of those things where the company really starts closing the doors on most of its stores. This is just not going to survive as big as it is currently. It's one of those deals where you probably have to close like 90% of your locations. And if you're going to make it as a company, you're probably going to have to make it as a much, much, much smaller company than what they currently are. So as far as, my current job situation is this here. I make videos, and that's what I've been focused on really, again, since the end of Black Friday last year. So for about 4 months, I've really been pushing hard here on the YouTube channel. And of course, here in the last couple of months, it's really been my primary source of income, really my only source of income because, of the coronavirus. In fact, in many ways, I was very lucky regarding this pandemic because a lot of people don't have other sources of income, and because of what I do here making videos, it wasn't just catastrophic, not having a paycheck coming in because, of course, I get money, of course, from YouTube, from the Adsense revenue regarding YouTube, from my Patreon supporters, from you guys donating to me over on Library. And I really appreciate all of you guys that support what I do. And some of you guys that are new to the channel have been asking me here recently, hey, just found your channel. It's great. Hey, man, I want you to make a little money. What is the best way to support you? Well, the best way for me is Patreon, because Patreon makes things easy. You can set up a recurring donation, a monthly donation, if that's what you want to do. And it's better for the creator because he has a much better idea of exactly what income is coming in on a monthly basis. It's a much more regular kind of income than, for example, AdSense revenue on YouTube, because you have no control over what YouTube does as far as what kind of ads they run on your videos. If they run ads on your videos at all, maybe you get demonetized for some videos. You really have no control over what those ads pay you. I have months where my viewership numbers are very high, but the ad revenue is actually lower. And then I have other months where I don't get that many views at all, but the AdSense revenue does quite well. Again, it fluctuates and it's kind of out of your control, but with Patreon, with a recurring subscription through Patreon from you guys, the community, it's a much more regular source of income. It's something that you can kind of depend on a little more than what YouTube pays. Of course, many of you probably don't want to make a recurring monthly donation. That's fine. You can always just sign up to Patreon and pay for a month or 2 months, or when you can always cancel your membership. But if you really just want to do a one-time donation, PayPal is an option. PayPal's a good option. If you donate through PayPal, though, and actually if you sign up through Patreon, what I would ask is that if you're going to give some money, don't do the minimum donation, which is $1 on both PayPal and Patreon, because those services do take out a fee. So if you pay me $1 on PayPal, for instance, PayPal takes something like 35 cents or 37 cents or something out of that dollar, which is okay for me because you still donated 65 cents or whatever to me, and every little bit helps. But for you guys that are actually making the donations, I want you to get the most bang for your buck. So if you could bump that up to $2 or $3, then whatever PayPal takes out as far as a fee, or Patreon takes out as a fee, doesn't just eat up so much of your money that you're trying to give. Other ways to donate include things like super chats, which you can do when I do a live stream here on YouTube. I don't live stream that often, but the super chats are something to consider. And of course, you can always donate LBC to me over on Library. That's my least favorite form of donations. If you're already on Library and you're collecting LBC and you want to donate LBC to me, by all means, I'm very appreciative that you guys were willing to donate that to me. But if you are pondering, because I had this question the other day, hey, how would you like for me to donate to you? Through something like PayPal or Patreon, or would you prefer me just give you some LBC on Library? And that is the worst option, the LBC through Library, because then I actually have to do a currency exchange. I have to actually trade those LBCs in to US dollars. Actually, I have to do 2 currency exchanges because I can't find a platform that will exchange LBC directly to US dollars. What I have to do is I have to convert my LBC into Bitcoin and then into US dollars. So the next question I want to address involves the location of my camera, the camera that records me. Now, typically, I am not sitting directly in front of a camera at this position. Typically, I'm turned around doing work on my computer. And this room I'm in is very, very small. And I get this question on almost every video, it seems, here lately, probably from new subscribers, because I've gotten many new subscribers here in the last couple months. My room situation here is so small, and this desk is so big, and I've got 3 monitors, and then I got the gigantic tower behind me that is my computer, and then the sound server equipment and the lighting. I cannot put a camera and a tripod in front of me. There's just no room. This room is only about 8 feet wide. It's like an 8 by 8 room, and with everything I've got in this room, I have to put my camera off to the side of me and high enough that it actually clears the monitors too, because I've got 3 monitors in front of it. It's a weird situation. That's why the camera's there. If I could put it in a better location, I would, but I'm also a little concerned that so many of you are like, hey, why don't you put the camera in front of you so you can actually look into my eyes? And are you guys like strange perverts, or why do I need to make eye contact with you anyway? Another question I get all the time here lately is, hey man, why are you always changing window managers, terminal emulators, shells? You're always hopping to something different. Why don't you just stick with something for months or even years and really learn it? Well, that would be great. Yes, I should just stick to Arch Linux and the i3 window manager and use nothing but the bash shell and the Xterm as my terminal emulator and really know those programs, because I spent years and years and I've never tried anything else, and that would make some just fantastic YouTube content. Come on. You guys, of course I try out new programs because you guys want to see it. At least I think most of you guys want to see it. It's very odd because I do see other YouTubers out there, tech-related YouTubers, and especially Linux-related YouTubers, that know nothing other than the distribution they're on. They have never tried any other distribution other than the one they're on. And that is a very limited world that they live in, because they really don't know what exists. If all they ever used was Debian or Ubuntu, then they don't know anything about Arch or Gentoo or Fedora, or, they don't know some of the really cool aspects to those other distributions. They are stuck in their own little world, and I refuse to be stuck in such a world. Also, I really think it has made me a better Linux user. It's made me more knowledgeable, even though, yes, I could just stick with one window manager, for example. The fact that I've used so many different window managers, every window manager is a little different. They all have different configurations, and they all can do slightly different things. And every window manager I've ever tried, I take a little piece of it with me. I like the way that BSPWM does that, and I like the way that the awesome window manager does that, and I like the way Qtile did this. And it really gives me ideas about how I really want to configure my desktop to my workflow. And I wouldn't have this kind of perspective had I just stuck with one window manager my entire life. Another question I'm getting from some of the new users is, hey man, I've been watching some of your videos, especially some of my past videos, and DT, why are you such a free and open source software extremist or zealot or whatever terminology they want to use? And I'm okay with that terminology. I'll admit I am an extremist or a zealot when it comes to advocating free and open source software versus proprietary software. But to the people that ask me this kind of question, the only thing I would ask you in return is, why do you care about my opinions on free and open source software versus proprietary software? They don't really concern you, right? My choices for what kind of software I want to use and for what the kind of software I want to advocate the use of, that's my decision. You may have a different decision, and that's fine, but I'm not really sure that there's an argument to be had here. I know it's weird because some people think that because I advocate the use of free software, that I'm somehow degrading you guys that use proprietary software because, I'm advocating free software, so I must hate proprietary software, and I do. So therefore, I must hate you, the proprietary software user. Well, no. We all have to use proprietary software sometimes. Everyone has to use proprietary software sometimes. That still doesn't mean that I like proprietary software. It's still garbage, in my opinion. It's still immoral, but that doesn't make you guys or me that has to use proprietary software sometimes bad or immoral. But you're never going to change my opinion that that proprietary software is garbage and it's unethical as far as the people that develop the software. I really think that software developers should open source everything. And I'm not sure what you guys are arguing anyway when in some of the comments, like, hey man, your thoughts on free and open source software are just so sick and disgusting to me. Are you advocating the use of proprietary software? Are you pro proprietary software? I've never met anyone that advocated the use of proprietary software in lieu of free and open source software if there was free and open source software alternatives out there. I don't know of any of those people that exist. Typically, it's us, the people that care about free and open source software, and then the other group of people is the people that don't care at all, or they're completely ignorant of the topic to begin with. Now, this other group that doesn't care, or they're just completely ignorant of the topic, they're not pro-proprietary software. They just don't know any better, or they just simply don't care. It's a non-issue to them, and that is okay. And I am not attacking those people when I advocate for free and open source software, and I've never seen anybody else that advocates the use of free and open source software attack people that use proprietary software or don't even know about free software or don't care about it, or they know about it, they're just not interested in the politics and the ideology around it. I've never seen like a free and open source software zealot attack those people. That's not who they're going after. They're going after the evil proprietary corporations that are putting out their proprietary garbage software. That's who we're going after, not you guys that have to use proprietary software, and not myself included, since I also have to use proprietary software sometimes. Another question I've been getting here recently is, hey DT, why don't you hang out on your Discord channel, on your IRC channel, or why don't you join Telegram and hang out with us on Telegram? First of all, I've never used Telegram, never signed up, never used it. It's not exactly free and open source software, so that's why I'm not on Telegram. I do have a Discord channel. I know Discord is also proprietary software, but the only reason I have Discord installed on my system is occasionally I will need to do a voice chat on a live stream on YouTube. For example, if I'm doing a gaming stream, and most gamers, what do they have installed on their system? Discord. There's free and open source alternatives I could use. I could use something like Mumble, but then I'd have to set up a Mumble server and then hope that the people that wanted to game with me live on a stream had Mumble installed and knew how to use it. That's asking a lot, right? When gamers, typically every single gamer that's a serious gamer is going to have Discord already on their system. So if I'm going to do a gaming stream with the community, I'm just going to use what you guys are using, which is Discord. But no, I don't ever hang out on my Discord channel. I log into Discord half a dozen times a year. I don't just sit around in the chat. I never go to it. I can go months at a time without going to my Discord channel because I've got too much other stuff to do. Same thing with IRC. I wish I could hang out in the IRC channel and chat with you guys, but that would be time that I would be wasting as far as producing content on the channel. If I'm in front of my computer, typically I'm trying to work as far as putting out content on the channel. So I never open up Discord or IRC because it would just be a real distraction, and I can't handle that. I'm too OCD to have distractions on my screen. Typically, if I'm focused on a task, I'm laser focused on it because I've got to be dialed in on exactly what I'm working on. So I do apologize if you're hanging out in my Discord and think I'm ever going to be there. I'm not. Same thing with the IRC channel. It's been months, actually, since I logged into the DistroTube channel over on the Freenode network. Maybe I'll log in this evening, at least say hi to the guys that are hanging out over there. And the last thing I want to discuss, just briefly, some housekeeping stuff regarding distrotube.com, my website. So recently, I've had somebody ask about guest articles, posting guest blog posts on my site. And I have allowed that, and all he does is he goes to my GitLab where I host the source code for distrotube.com, because everything on distrotube.com is free and open source software. And he just does a pull request for the blog post that he's submitting, and I just approve it and push it to my web server, and it's published. So if you guys go to distrotube.com and click on the blog tab, you will see that there are a couple of blog posts that were not authored by me. So if you haven't checked it out, please go read that guy's work. And for those of you that would like me to post a guest blog post of yours on my site, I have no problems with that, as long as the article is at least reasonably well written, you know, proper grammar and spelling. And of course, it needs to cover Linux or free and open source software. Another thing you guys have been doing is pull requests as far as some of my GitLab repositories, as far as my dot files, my builds of DWM and ST, and especially my shell color scripts repo. I've gotten some really good commits from some of you guys that are helping me out with some of those projects, and I sincerely thank you guys for helping me with those. And again, if any of you guys watching want to help out with anything over on my GitLab repos, if you see something you're like, hey man, you know, I see DT's config for this, but this really could be better. And most of what I do actually could be better. Again, I'm not a programmer or a developer by trade. So if you see something that's just completely off the wall, feel free to do a merge request, because chances are I'm going to accept it. Now before I go, I do need to thank the producers of this episode. I'm talking about Michael, Mitchell, Chris, DJ Donnie, Dylan, George, Haplo, Nate, LibreQuest, Omri, Rob, Sean, and Willie. These guys, they're the producers of the show. Without these guys, this episode, this very lengthy rant where I babbled on way too long, this episode wouldn't have been possible without those guys. The show is also brought to you by all of these fine ladies and gentlemen. Each and every one of these names you're seeing on the screen right now helps support my work over on Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider doing so. You'll find me at DistroTube over on Patreon. Alright guys, peace.